Whatever cooling solution makes the most sense, Green Heating and Cooling is ready to help. Whether you need a quick fix or an entirely new cooling system, Green will do whatever it takes for your family's comfort. With Green, you get more than just a technician. You get someone who's committed to meeting your needs and achieving a high level of training and skills. Someone backed by outstanding products from one of the industry's most trusted names, Bryant. Nobody understands the ins and outs of home comfort like Green. So whatever your situation or budget, Green Heating and Cooling has a solution for you. Bryant, whatever it takes.
You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious? Ugh.
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is Dave before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
Good Monday morning to you right here on the Morning Rant. Dave Garner with you till 11 o'clock this morning as we get set to kick off the fastest hour in all of Sports Talk Radio. Hey, thanks for being with us right here on the home of ESPN in North Georgia. That's the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. Once again, I'm joined by my man, John Davis. Big John in with us right here on this Monday morning quarterback segment of the program. Again, presented by your friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. John, what's going on, big man?
Good morning, guys. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I am wearing my I lived in Buffalo.
I love it, man.
It was cool shirt.
I love it.
In honor of my Buffalo Sabres and my buddies Mark Butler and Jim Prentice, who are down in Florida right now just having a ball with all the Boston Bruin fans.
I bet.
Who acted like whiny little bitches last night because they got beat so bad. And
my goodness
so we're gonna savor these wins over them.
We're going to savor the Sabres, man. I'm telling you, big win by, up 3-1 now, that series. By the way, they're in the NHL. I love that shirt, man. Yeah, you were, of course, it's always been cool and cold in Buffalo, but so
exactly.
that just goes to show you. Hey, we're also joined by our draft insider. We're going to start out the show today, kind of picking up where we left off on Friday with our man, David Collins, again, our NFL draft insider. He also joins us as well right here on the program. David, again, thanks for being with us right here, man, and a busy weekend for you, I know.
Oh, it was fun. This is my favorite time of the year, like I said, for football next opening day.
Yep, there we go. There we go. You got the Falcon shirt on again today, so you are rocking and rolling and raring to go right here. We're going to dive into it. David's going to join us for the first part of the show today. We're going to jump into some Braves talk a little bit later on in the program right here. The first team in Major League Baseball to reach 20 wins, so we want to talk about it. We're going to chop it up, talk a little bit about our Atlanta Hawks as well and some other things going on in the world of sports. NASCAR, you heard the Cup race right here from Dega yesterday. It was again a thrilling finish as always. Again, Carson Hocevar, a rookie, finally breaking through, getting his first win. That young man's got a lot of personality, had a really neat celebration at the end of that race yesterday, and so we're going to mention that as well in an event you heard right here on the Sports Pig. But hey, let's dive back in to the NFL draft a little bit here in this first segment as we talk a little bit about the weekend. And John, we'll start with you. I mean, obviously the biggest takeaways for you, I know you were keeping your eye certainly on the Bills, but anything in particular stand out to you from the weekend since we last left off?
I just think they filled the needs that they needed to. I know the fans aren't really that happy because they had opportunities to pick up a couple of wide receivers to help Josh out. They obviously know something that we don't know. Again, all bets are off the table once they get in for mini camp and then, training camp. The cream's going to rise to the top, as they say, and we'll see what happens. I will say this, my winners, going back and looking at it the last couple of days, the Jets and the Cowboys had a great weekend, and I think they filled the needs and what they wanted to achieve, and it'll be interesting to see what the Jets will do now. I don't know if they're 2026 contender.
Right.
But, you know, I think they're trying to build a little bit of a foundation, which, you know, it only makes our division that much better as well. And then you got all the trouble going on in New England. I think that's been kind of shuffled around with what Rabel's done, and you know, kind of put a little stain on that organization.
No, most
and
definitely.
my loser is Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt.
Yeah, how about that?
This goes to prove, or to show you, that you can't, you know, go to WWE, UFC, drinking beer, you know, doing all this stuff and kind of flipping your nose off to the NFL, especially after how he acted after the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very fitting. I saw a meme saying that he was just sitting there waiting for the 8th round to begin. And,
I saw that too.
For
actually,
people who don't know, there's no 8th round.
Yeah, there's no 8th round, and there's also no agent. I mean, he went without an agent. That was another part of it as well, because he said, I don't want anybody taking any of my money, you know. And well, there you go. I mean, a lot of teams now, it's just not being smart. You got to understand, you know, they want to deal with someone, right, that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, that shows me right there.
Right.
In my opinion only, that shows me that he doesn't have a strong male influence in his life, because if he did, I think somebody would have stepped up and pulled him to the side and told him to straighten his act up. But, you know, he chose to go it alone. I think I just read that he got an invite to Baltimore.
He did, the Ravens,
So, you know, we'll see what happens. But, you know, you just, look, you just can't be arrogant, you know, and think that you're going to be, you know, should have won the Heisman and then, you know, was going to go in the first or second round. It's just not going to happen.
Right, exactly. David, your thoughts as well. Give us your winners, man. Give us your losers. I mean, what stood out to you over the weekend, and then we'll dive a little bit closer to home and talk a little bit more about the Falcons here in a moment. But your overall impression of the weekend.
So, like I said before, I thought this was a weaker draft, and my opinion is that, you know, once you got past those first top picks, that you could throw the next 60 players in a bucket and see what happens. So I felt like a lot of teams met needs. I thought the Cleveland Browns did a good job. I thought the Eagles, they always do a great job and got value for their picks. And a lot of people disagree. I thought the Panthers did a good job, and I thought the Saints did a good job.
Yeah.
I thought the Falcons were average C, and everybody's giving them Bs, and they did the best. And this is a great first draft. I give them a C, and I thought there were now. Everybody likes the pick. It's a feel-good story. I just want players to win. So, my opinion of Terrell is he's not going to bust.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a good player. You're not taking a Jalen Collins or Rashid Hageman and taking, you know, traits, overproduction,
right?
You know, like
Tack McKinley or whatever.
Jane, complete bust. Jalen Collins couldn't even get him in the starting lineup at LSU. But hey, let's take him in the second round. He runs a 4.3 40. Who cares? You got a guy that's going to be productive. He's going to play. He's going to be a good player, but his ceiling is low. Yeah. He's going to be good, not great. And I would have liked, and I felt like we needed help on the front seven more than we needed it at corner. So but the grade was too high for the Falcons, I would imagine. He was a first round pick for most people, I feel like, and he slid down maybe because of size. But it's a good pick.
Yeah.
It's not a great pick. I love Branch in the third round. I thought that was a fantastic pick. I think he gives you something opposite of London. We needed speed at the wide receiver position. You know, there were lots of fine picks. I don't understand why the Falcons took the linebacker from Oklahoma.
Yeah, Keelan Daniels, who they're really big on. I mean, they were like excited about that pick.
Oh my gosh, Matt Ryan looked like he won the lottery.
Yeah,
but I thought the linebacker from Oregon was a better player that went right behind him.
Right.
So a faster player, a more productive player. I mean, this guy's tall and he's not overly fast. You know, is he going to be a safety? Is he going to be a linebacker? It's just, I don't know. I just didn't get that pick.
Yeah.
And I definitely, and listen, you take projects and sit around by, I don't understand how you take a player. Hold on, let me pull this up. I want to get his name right. Ethan Owenwa from the tackle from Ohio State in the seventh round.
Yeah.
If you're going to take a project, do what Howie Roseman did and take the guy from Nigeria. Yeah. I mean, the guy who runs a 4.5 40 and weighs 305 pounds.
Right.
I mean, that's where you take your projects, not a guy who can't even crack the starting lineup at Ohio State. And they weren't that good on offense.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't understand that pick at all.
Yeah.
If you're taking a project, so
right.
Good picks. Obviously, the Perkins, the Harold Perkins pick in the 6th round is an excellent pick. I think you got great value there. I know he's coming off an ACL, but he's healed from that now. He was a productive player before the injury. Great pick in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Some people have a 3rd or 4th round grade on him, so you got value there.
Right.
So there were things I agreed with and things I disagreed with. But here's the thing about the draft and draft grades: they're stupid. Nobody knows.
Right. You don't know how it's going to pan out.
I think that draft where they took Russell Wilson and Bruce Irvin in Seattle, they gave them an F. And there were Hall of Fame players in that draft.
Right.
So you just don't know.
You don't know. And you can say the same thing about college recruiting. Everybody says, they had the #1 recruiting class in the country. Well, how do you know until, 2 or 3 years from now, right? And it's the same thing, I think, with the NFL grades to a certain extent. I will piggyback and say this. I do like the Zachariah Branch. I was hoping that they would pick up somebody opposite Drake London, particularly out of that wide receiver room. I know they made some free agent moves, but nothing that really, stands out there. They did address the needs as far as the position goes. But to your point, there were some other guys there that may have been able to fill those needs a little bit more, certainly. But, the draft grade's really all over the place. I think Bleacher Report gave the Falcons a C. I think some, to your point, I think we've seen, anywhere from an A- down to a C-. So, again, it depends on who you listen to, who you talk to. I do like some of the picks. They're very high on Daniels. I do like they picked some athletic players, particularly a linebacker we need. You're talking about J.D. Bertrand, how he seems kind of lost, at times, and it's certainly obvious when you're watching the games to see that. So, maybe some of these guys will pan out. But again, that's the thing. Just like you just said, man, we just don't know, right?
We have no idea.
Yep.
It's like my wife says, hope's not a plan.
Right, exactly.
So,
hope is not a plan for sure. David, thanks for being with us right here. Again, the draft grades out and about right now, again, after 3 days of the NFL draft, which, by the way, you can hear all 3 rounds right here on the Sports Pig. Again, the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. We have the draft coverage live Thursday, Friday, and Saturday right here. So, again, things wrapping up, and everybody is in the book, so we'll talk about it. It's going to be an ongoing conversation, and we appreciate Mr. David Collins, our NFL Draft Insider, joining us right here on the program this morning. And again, a lot of things, big surprise. We talked about Ty Simpson going in the first round, 13th pick to the Rams. I know there's more and more that's come out. They're showing the videos now of the Sean McVay phone call where, Ty's like in tears, like, hey, man, let's get it, coach, let's get it. And Sean McVay's like, yeah, okay. So, yeah, man, looking forward to seeing you. It's just, it's one of those things.
He was in a bad mood from something else, though. So he's obfuscating.
I don't know about that. True story about Sean McVay. I actually had the opportunity early in my broadcasting career to call his state semifinal game when he was the quarterback at Marist. Because again, McVay's an Atlanta guy, and he was I think he was the Georgia Player of the Year that year, high school Player of the Year for Marist as a option quarterback, and they of course went on, won a state championship, and then lo and behold, several years later he pops up as one of the youngest head coaches ever, basically in the league. But yeah, a lot of these guys getting younger and younger, man, as we see. And so again, a lot of fun there. But yeah, the draft wrapping up officially, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about the draft grades and so forth as we progress right here on the show. Hey, segment 1 already in the books here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Stay with us right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
Grand Slam!
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball. Big opinions of the big games from the big mouths.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the Morning Rant on WPGY The Sports Pig, North Georgia's home for ESPN Radio.
Sit down.
I'm back here on a Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner, Big John Davison with you till 11 o'clock. Again, our NFL draft insider, David Collins, joining us there in that first segment. Appreciate his take. Always brings it, a guy that follows the draft very closely, has his own mock boards, all kinds of things there. So, again, we appreciate him being with us right here on the show this morning as well. John, you and I were talking a little bit about the draft there, and of course, I know you've gotten really tight with Keelan, Rutledge, a guy that the Texans traded up for in that first round. They got their man, and I know that you'll be looking closely, into following him along, and maybe we can even get him on the program. I mean, that would be awesome if we could somehow make that work. The only thing I hate, though, about the whole situation is that I think it was the Bills that actually gave up that pick. I mean, how poetic would it have been if Big Red had ended up with Buffalo?
I know.
My goodness.
Well, yeah, especially with Dion, I think their offensive line's in a little disarray, just a little bit. Dion, there's been some, ever since this McDermott got fired, people are starting to, feel a little bit freer about their opinions and everything, which, it can be good or can be bad. But no, I just got off texting with Keelan because I'm interested today how the contracts go. And I sent you a note to talk about it a little bit because, we went from back when I played, you might sign a 2-year contract to maybe a 4-year, and then it would for not a lot of money. But then you got into the 90s when the salary cap started going up, and they were signing these guys for 5, 6, 7 years for 40, 50, 60 million. Right. And it seems like today, in the past few years, they brought that way back down. And so I just asked him, I said, what kind of contract? Years-wise, was he looking at? And then I did some research, and it looks like he's going to sign like a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option.
Right, yeah.
Which is great. And then looking at the money part of it, somebody in his area, the mid-20s, they're going to get a signing bonus of $3 to $4 million, maybe a little bit more, and they're going to get a good base salary of, $1.5 million to $2 million, which is very good money. It's not generational money, but what I've told Keelan is that what you have to realize is that if you go out there and bust your butt and prove yourself, that second contract is now becoming generational money.
Right,
and,
exactly.
And I just told him, I said, don't put your mind on it too much, but always keep in the back of your mind that you have a chance to do something that a lot of us never had a chance to do. Right. But make sure you get your work done now. And he's excited. They love it. From what I'm hearing right now, they love him out there.
Yeah. And, they're going to love him.
So I'm going to introduce him to a couple of my friends, a couple of my teammates, and make sure that he feels as home as he comfortable as he can.
What I want to know is, and one of the things you and I talked about, and you've got some notes here as well about this, is how many college players are taking a pay cut? It was always a joke back in the day. Michael Irvin had to take a pay cut to go play for the Cowboys, right? When he, having played at the University of Miami. Well, now that's actually a legitimate question, right? I mean, how many of these guys are going to make less money playing professional football than they did at the college ranks, the IEs, the Carson Becks, and so forth of the world?
Well, and then what I'm seeing also is that they're paying these undrafted free agents a nice signing bonus. Usually undrafted free agents might get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Right. I think I saw where Haynes King got like $250,000. Yeah. Now that's still a pay cut, from what he was making at Tech, but good for them. But look, we all know the market bears it and what they can and can't pay, and basically, and it's like I had told you. Or we had talked about it. I really think, David, they should have 1, maybe 2 rounds, and then the rest of it, you throw.
It's basically free agency.
It just becomes a big grab of who's going to pay more money to get these guys coming in there.
Sure, yeah, and that would totally make sense, I think, to a certain extent, and then, because you've only got so many spots anyway, that some of the 6th and 7th round guys, back-end guys, aren't going to pan out. Some of them will, but even some of your 3rd and 4th round guys don't necessarily pan out, right?
No.
I mean, that's just the history of the draft. So, again, to your point, it would totally make sense if you ever saw that model.
And if they're honest with each other, it's like I told you the other day, I did not want to go to Houston because I knew I wasn't going to get to play.
Right.
They've got 4, all pros on there.
Yeah.
And some of these kids today, if they're honest with you, they're going to say, well, I don't want to go to Green Bay or Minnesota or, someplace like that. And so that's when I just think that once you get past the 2nd or 3rd round, you're almost hoping you don't get drafted in a way because now you have a choice.
So, where you want to go, right?
Yeah. And now you don't have a choice. And look, it's a huge dream to get drafted because your name will always be mentioned in that 1987 draft. And I'll always be grateful and appreciative of that. But at the end of the day, I did not go where, I wanted to go. And in essence, lost 2 years in the league because I had to sit on the bench behind all pro guys.
Right, yeah. You got Munchak, you got Matthews, you got all these guys, different folks.
Dean Steinkuhler, Bruce Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, it's just a list of them.
It totally makes sense. So, again, we can certainly appreciate that right there. Again, hot takes, bold takes right here on the Morning Rant on this Monday morning edition. By the way, we had some great viewership, great listenership on Friday's show. They're talking about the draft there, so we appreciate that. The show is going to be a lot. We're going to talk a little bit more about the draft later on, but we are going to get the show out in front of people over the next couple of weeks. One of the big events I do want to let folks know, in case you missed the show last week, we are going to be at Bradley's Bar and Grill over in East Cobb on Friday, May the 15th. And again, not just a live show, but we're also doing some raffles. We've got some raffle tickets. We're going to be doing a lot of different giveaways. And John, I'll let you mention a little bit more about that as well, partner.
So I teamed up, and you'll meet him here pretty soon. I teamed up with my good friend John Capone at Bradley's, and he's going to be coming on board as an advertiser with us. And of course, you have put out there where we're going to start going to local businesses to do our show and kind of get out in front of people more. And so we are going to. I've secured a Gilmer High jersey, a Georgia Tech jersey, and I've got a Buffalo Bills jersey, and we are starting to sell raffle tickets, and we are going to donate the money to the Cobb Police Academy League, or Athletic League, I believe it is, which is close to John, and I believe you have the Boys and Girls Club of Pickens County.
Right, yeah. It's Boys and Girls Clubs of North Georgia, based in Jasper, and so, it kind of covers the whole area there,
Okay, and then I'm going to, for LJ, we're going to go to the Appalachian Children's Center that you had mentioned to me that I was not aware of, but I have spoken to them and told them what we're trying to do and what we want to do, and they're very grateful for our help as well. So, but it just adds a little bit, and I thought it'd be a nice way to raise a little bit of money, and then hopefully we'll probably give those jerseys away. I believe we're going to try the Friday before Father's Day, I think, but I'm not for sure yet.
Okay, in June. We'll go back later. We'll be doing a show there once a month. Second show there when we come back around in June. Haven't nailed down the day yet, but we'll do that, so keep listening, is when we'll present those right there. So, the Cobb PAL, Boys and Girls Clubs of North Georgia, and, of course, the Appalachian Children's Center, the ACC, and LJ, which serves the Appalachian Judicial District of Pickens, Gilmer, and Fannin counties. A great advocacy group there. So, a lot of things working right here. We're trying to give back, and you guys have been gracious. You've been listening in. The show has been gaining a lot of popularity, a lot of momentum. So we want to turn it into something special. We talked about John being a man of the people. This show being for you guys, the people out there, and we want to give back to the people of our communities as well. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys on the 15th. And by the way, that will be a long show. That will not be a 10 to 11, right? We're going to go 3 hours that day. We're going to go 10 to 1. So plenty of time for you guys to stop by. Again, Bradley's Bar and Grill in East Cobb, and we'll talk more about that over the next week or two as we get ready to go.
And if I can say this, he's going to have some specials. He's going to have some 50-cent wings. And let me tell you something. John's wings are some of the best in Georgia. And I mean, they truly do remind me of Buffalo wings. And
there you go.
He's going to have bottomless mimosas. He's going to have Bloody Marys. He's going to have a designed lunch menu for everybody. And then we're going to get some prizes to give away. And then we're also going to sell raffle tickets. And then one last thing before we move on. Keep up with our social media as much as you can, because we're going to be putting Venmos up. We're going to be putting, like I'll put up a flyer from Bradley's. I'll put up a flyer of the jerseys. I did a little mock one on Grok the other day that actually looked pretty decent.
I like it.
I was going to share with everybody to see what they're going to win. Bill Curry is going to autograph one of his 10-minute huddle books for us.
Awesome.
And so we want to try to put a good package together. We've got 1,000 tickets, and I just sold 40 or 50 last night. So
there you go, man.
I'm going to go for the 2,000 because as much money as we can raise, it'll help these organizations out. So just keep following us on social media. I know people get tired of seeing it on mine all the time on X and on Facebook, but hey, that's the only way we can get it out. And, and we're just going to keep pushing it.
Yeah, and if you guys want to reach out to us, we encourage you to interact. And again, you'll be seeing more about that event on May 15th and other events as well, including the John Davis Golf Classic, June the 3rd. We'll be posting about that as well. Some other things going on. We have a live show coming up once again back at the pub in Ellijay. Again, our friends there. We're going to do a little bit longer version that morning as well. So looking forward to getting back over and seeing, Scott and Aletha and of course, Keegan and all the folks there at the pub in Ellijay. You were talking about social media before we hit the second break. Do want to throw it out there again, in case you haven't been on our Facebook and Instagram. The Sports Pig is on Facebook. Our show, The Morning Rant, is on Instagram, and you can also watch full video episodes of the show daily on YouTube. Now, the podcast version of the show lives on our website, that's sportspigradio.com, and wherever you listen to your daily favorite podcast, whether it's Spotify, Podbean, we've got all the Apple and Android platforms covered. And if you want to reach out to us directly, you can on Twitter. I'm at Dave Garner 777. He's at John Davis _65. And this is the Morning Rant. Our Monday morning quarterback edition continues after the break. Stay with us right here again on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. We'll be right back.
Welcome to your hometown pub. Open 7 days a week, the pub in Ellijay is your happy hour hangout. They offer a variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, and their friendly staff is here to ensure a wonderful time. Join them for daily happy hour specials Monday through Thursday. And don't forget, every Wednesday is Wing Wednesday with $1 wings all day long. Located at 941 Maddox Drive in East Ellijay. Open Sunday through Wednesday till midnight, Thursday through Saturday till 2 a.m. The pub in Ellijay, where every visit feels like home. 98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, your official home for flag-to-flag coverage of NASCAR. We bring the heat, you bring the trash talk.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
It's the Morning Rant, live on the Sports Pig app and sportspigradio.com.
Back here on a Monday morning quarterback segment of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner with you right here till 11 o'clock. Our man Chuck Oliver, again, the king of college football with Southern Sports Today from 11 to 1 right here on Sports Pig Radio. Back here with Big John Davis chopping it up here on a Monday. And again, a lot of things going on this past weekend. We'll talk about Hawks and dive into a couple of other things that happened over the weekend right there. But again, we talked about it before the break, some golf tournaments. This time of year, man, things fill up quickly. And speaking of, man, your roster for this year's John Davis Classic is also filling up quickly. So if people want to get involved in that tournament, I guess they better act quick.
Yeah, I talked to Gina at the end of last week, and she's very happy. We're kind of a unique situation because I would say 80% of our golfers have played just about every year. But then we also get a lot of new golfers, especially coming up from Atlanta. So, we try to hold it at about 30 or 32 teams because, we want them to have a good pace of play and we've got food on the course for them, music out there and everything. She told me that we've got about 4 teams that are left, so we're filling up pretty fast, and we haven't even hit May yet.
Well, I was going to say we're not even the 1st of May yet. I mean, my goodness.
So we're really excited about that, and like I said, it's one of the bigger tournaments in the north part of Georgia, and Banter does a great job. One of our great sponsors, Mark West and Cindy, they're doing this year, Dave. Over the years we've always done shirts, and after 33 years, you just can't get any more original. So we're coming out with sunglasses and hats.
Hey, I love it. Okay.
So we think everybody's going to like them, and of course Mark and Cindy are big advertisers and sponsors of the golf tournament, and we appreciate them very much.
And they do a lot in the community, always have for a long time now. So definitely friends of the event. We're excited to be out there. We'll be broadcasting live, of course, on June 3rd, and certainly looking forward to that. I've had the opportunity, as you've mentioned, over the years to cover a lot of the tournaments that you've done, and it's always great seeing all the different folks that are out there. There's always a lot of your friends. In fact, that's actually where I met Wes Durham for the first time. Of course, at that point, he was the play-by-play announcer at Georgia Tech. Now, obviously, we know he's gone on to, Fox, ESPN now, and he's doing a lot of big games there and stuff. Of course, the Atlanta Falcons play-by-play guy as well. But yeah, I think it was the first one I ever covered down at Town Lake Hills, where I actually met Wes Durham and a lot of different guys. But man, I tell you, a lot of folks end up playing in this thing this year. Of course, back at Banter in Pickens County. So man, I'm excited about it, and it sounds like a lot of other people are too with with all the teams.
I'm getting calls and notes, and I just told them, I said, they can do individual or they can do teams. So and it's a great day for me because I don't get to see my buddies from LJ as much anymore. So I get 6 hours to catch up and spend time with them and tell old stories and watch them play some bad golf.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, man, that's what it's all about.
Time to hang it in the Louvre.
Oh, this looks nice.
Our favorite moments from the week in sports here on the Morning Rant.
So we were talking about the Buffalo Sabres earlier. Big weekend, of course, in the NHL there. I had the opportunity yesterday to go to the Braves game. It was radio affiliate day down at Truist Park, and it was a great experience. We got to go down on the field and kind of hang out a little bit. Got to hear from Derek Schiller, the president and CEO, of course, of the Braves there. Also, Ben Ingram, and again, the play-by-play guy, the radio play-by-play guy for the Braves, has already had a lot of iconic calls since being, of course, part of the organization. And so it was a lot of fun. It was a hot game yesterday, man. But the Braves are on a tear, as we know. First team in Major League Baseball to 20 games, and so hopefully they can keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I think, Dave, and you know this, it's all about consistency. And what I talk to my buddy Warren all the time about it, but what I always look at is that the faster you can get off to a great start and kind of separate yourself, not only from the division, but your division, and then obviously the conference is it's only going to help you because those dog days of summer, you're going to get into a slump. It's bound to happen. You're bound to have an injury here and there, but is the more room that you can put between the Mets and the Phillies and stuff like that, when something bad happens, then it's not going to bite you in the butt as bad as if you're just neck and neck for the whole year.
Oh, yeah. And like you said, it's all about consistency. It's going to happen. You're going to go on a streak where maybe you lose 4 or 5 in a row or whatever. But to your point, building enough momentum and putting enough distance between yourself and the rest of the teams in the division. I had a feeling because, we win Friday night. Saturday night they lost. And so I'm sitting there saying, okay, I'm going to the game on Sunday. My luck, sure enough, they're going to lose the game on Sunday, lose the first series of the year, and I'm going to be the one that's going to say I was there for it, and it was all my fault, right? But thankfully, Chris Sale going up against Aaron Nola, who's got some local ties, by the way, but Chris Sale able to throw another gem, hitless, scoreless, no earned runs yesterday. They gave up 2 late on a Schwarber home run, late in the 8th inning, but the Braves able to win 6-2. They scored all their offense up front in that ball game there. So again, they take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Phillies. They once again are the only team in Major League Baseball, A, with 21s, B, that have not lost a series yet this year. So again, Atlanta on a heater right here, looking good. They're getting some good starting pitching. They've had some good spot starts. The offense is cranking up there. We saw Acuna with a couple of hits, yesterday. So that was nice to see, continuing to raise that average. Obviously, Ozzie, Drake Baldwin, those guys hitting well. Got to get Austin Riley hitting a little bit. Got to get Acuna, of course, back up there as well. I think if they do that, they'll be in pretty good shape.
And I think also, Dave, during the year, it's going to get boring if they keep doing what they're doing now. But it goes back to, you and I talking, if you get those pitchers 6-7 innings, maybe a little bit more, people need to understand how big that is,
yes.
Especially with your receivers coming in, or your relievers, not receivers, your relievers. Yeah. And, then again, the bats will, for the guys that aren't, producing right now. All it takes is a couple of, good hits. Good. I mean, they're hitting the ball. But it's just not falling, down for hits and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just think, those hits will start to fall, and they'll get back up there. I think they're still right behind the Dodgers for batting average, and so that's not too bad.
Not too bad at all. Ball's falling in the glove instead on the grass, but it'll start to turn the other way. And a special weekend as well. Again, Brian Snitker inducted into the Braves Hall of Fame there on Saturday night as well. Hey, quickly, the Atlanta Hawks again back in action tomorrow. The series now tied at 2-2. The Knicks did get away with a win in Game 4 in Atlanta the other night. So Game 5 tomorrow night back in New York. We'll talk about that a little bit later on during our Rally Towel Tuesday edition of the show tomorrow. We will be joined tomorrow by the Golden Boy, Will Cooper, who's back in town. He and Billy D are going to swap days this week. So we'll have Will tomorrow, and Billy D will join you on Thursday as part of our Tailgate Thursday edition of the program. Of course, Big John back with me on Wednesday and Friday this week. Right here, we were talking about, of course, the NFL draft earlier in the show. Our NFL draft insider, David Collins, joining us right here on the Morning Rant. But I wanted to talk about a different kind of football for the next couple of minutes that you've had your eye on. We've talked a little bit about the UFL and some of the other spring leagues that are going on right now that aren't getting a lot of attention, of course, because of the draft. But now that the draft's over, people will settle in. They'll start to pay attention probably.
Well, and, again, you're football junkies, and I can't turn the TV on and not watch a game. But I will say this about the UFL compared to last year. I think the owner of the league has done a very good job, one, of putting it into a venue to where you're going to fill some seats.
Right.
It looks like they're in a lot of those soccer stadiums in the towns and everything. But you're also starting to see a good product on the field. Yeah. And you're not seeing as sloppy play as you saw last year. Last year, it just kind of looked like they just couldn't get out of each other's way.
Right.
This year, they actually look, pretty good and pretty organized and well coached.
Yep.
But so that's a lot of fun. And then I've got to give a shout out to my old not high school, but Georgia Tech coach, Mac McWhorter. He coached me for all 4 years. He, in fact, recruited me out of LJ.
Right.
And but he is over, and I've got to read it. It's the American Football League of Europe.
I love
this is his third year of going over to Europe to coach, and I'm so happy for him because he's getting to enjoy retired life. He's going over to Europe and taking his lovely wife Becky with him, and they're getting to coach football.
Yeah.
And I swear every time I see him on Facebook, he's got one of those 32-ounce beers in his hand. So I don't know how much he's working.
Figure.
But,
go figure. Well, he is in Germany, right? Isn't that where he's at?
Yeah.
Germany.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to say Dusseldorf, but I'm not. I can't remember. But the team that he's coaching was the Rhine Fire.
Right. Okay.
And
right.
So, but he's having a ball, and and I did not know this because we're going to try to have him on the show or maybe one of our podcasts coming up in June. But those guys that he coaches, they work. So they have
other jobs away from
and so they're trying to. It sounds almost like the Canadian League, where those guys go and work 8 hours
CFL
to football practice, CFL. But he's having a ball, and I can't wait to get online and be able to watch him play and stuff. And but it's just another way of watching football. And like I said, you just can't turn the station and not watch it.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to have in just a couple minutes here because we're up against the break. In the fourth and final segment of the day today, you're not going to want to miss it. It's Big John's Bull Take of the week, and we're going to talk a little bit more, kind of revisit a topic that we visited a little bit last week about autograph signings, things like that. So we're going to do that in the fourth and final segment, so stick around. But I did want to, obviously there's football being played around the world that even we here in America don't even necessarily know about, especially if you're just kind of a casual fan. We talked about it. There's a high school academy over in Europe that plays American football, and they actually play American high school. So some of your, big high schools from, around the country will go over and play them, or they'll come here. That's happened a couple different times. So even at the high school level, it seems like the game of American football is starting to catch on, particularly over in Europe. And to your point, the American Football League of Europe, different international things. Obviously, we talked about the NFL, and if there's $1 to make, they're going to make it. But we have seen a lot of games, of course, now being played over in Germany, down in South America, they're playing the Spain game again this year. So there is definitely an emphasis, not just by the NFL, but by a lot of different folks to really get the game of American football popular all around the world.
I think at the end of the day, I don't know if it would work. I don't think anything's ever going to take over soccer. I think you can agree with that. Yeah. I mean, that is the world sport. That is the football. But I think they really need to temper how much they want to move in that direction. Yeah. I think the like Coach McWhorter's coaching these community teams or town teams and stuff like that. But I personally don't think the NFL would work in Europe. I just don't think it would. Now, Mexico and Canada is a little bit different. People over in Europe, they love their soccer and they love their rugby. And sometimes they kind of laugh at us because they're like, wait, you're wearing a helmet? You're wearing pads? I said, I got my rugby players here. I mean, I want to watch real football.
Right. I want to see these guys' faces.
And that's what they think.
Yeah. Right.
That's how they look at it. So I would be careful about how much we try to go over there. And like you said, if Goodell can make a buck, he's going to. At the expense of the players.
Right. Well, and, Canada, Mexico, they're in the same time zones. They're still kind of in the same continent. But once you start going over the pond, all of a sudden TV and logistics become a little trickier. So we'll see how it materializes. Hey, we're up against our final break right here on the Morning Rant. Again, thank you for joining us right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the program. Once again, visit us on social media, the Sports Pig on Facebook. The Morning Rant is on Instagram, and full video episodes daily. Download it on YouTube. Go on there and check us out. Once again, I'm at Dave Garner 777 on Twitter. He's at John Davis _65, and this is the Morning Rant right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
You entrusted your loved one's care to a nursing home, expecting compassion and quality treatment. Instead, they suffered from neglect, abuse, bed sores, falls, or medication errors that could have been prevented. I'm Chris Brown from Geiger Legal Group. Our elderly deserve dignity and proper care, not negligence that causes pain and suffering. When nursing homes fail in their duty of care, we fight to hold them accountable. Your loved one's suffering matters. We'll stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG and let us tell your story today.
Grand Slam! 98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball.
Morning grind with pork rinds.
Welcome to the show.
It's the Morning Rant, weekday mornings from 10 to 11 on 98.1, 93.7, and 101.1 on the H2 dial. WPGY, the Sports Pig.
Back here on a Monday morning quarterback segment of the show as we hit our fourth and final fourth quarter segment right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner, Big John Davis with you. Again, our man, Chuck Oliver, at the top of the hour with Southern Sports Today, the king of college football, going to be breaking it down for you. Hey, speaking of, John, you know, we're talking about the NFL and professional football, and we're joking around saying that the college game is almost like the new pro game, and the pro game is now like a retirement vehicle where you get your second contracts and then your retirement. But now, kids are making money in college, and we were talking about college even organizationally being set up a lot like pros now, where you might have a general manager, you might have a lot of the processes that we've seen at the professional level now being imitated at the collegiate level.
I can't believe how much it has changed. Brent Scott, and every coach, they have their general manager, they have their operations guy. I mean, that's before you even get to the coaches.
Right, yeah.
But what just to close the recruiting up and the spring practices up and everything, I think, Brent made a great comment the other day. He said this is the first year that he's actually going to be able to have exit meetings with his players, knowing that they're all going to show up at training camp.
Right.
In the fall
sure.
or in the late summer. And, that has to be a huge, you could almost look at them and say, what a relief. I don't have to deal with, 30 guys calling me up May 31st and saying, yeah, I'm gone, and so hopefully they're starting to make those changes that you and I have talked about, and the coaches have to love it, because what a great feeling it is to go in there, you have a great spring practice, and you start building on your season. Like I said, I'm sure that we were game planning for Colorado and Tennessee, and so I just think I think that's a step in the right direction. Now they just got to figure out how they're going to fix the December problem
yes.
For bowl games and stuff like that.
Right. I think the schedule definitely needs tweaking. I think that's a big thing that we've talked about at the collegiate level now for a long time, is with everything going on with, portal, this, that, and the other, is now kind of changing the schedule a little bit, as far as just the dates for, for different things, for recruiting, for, NIL, early commit dates, things like that, so forth, because you are seeing a lot of shuffling around right now that really doesn't make sense with the way that things are set up. So again, great take right here. Hey, speaking of great takes, we got them for you right here on the Morning Rant, and another one coming your way right now.
911, what's your emergency?
Bold takes from the big man himself. It's Big John's Bold Take of the Week, only on the Morning Rant.
All right, so we were talking last week a little bit about Thursday and Friday. We mentioned about the whole, autograph thing and players signing things, and I think it was a Toronto Blue Jays prospect pitcher that was saying, hey, I really just don't have, don't send stuff to me because I'm not going to sign it, kind of just very blunt and put it out there. You had a much different take, obviously, than that, but I wanted to allow you to kind of expand on that here today as well, because I know you had some more thoughts about, professional athletes, being a privilege and so forth, as a way to show gratitude to the fans.
So I once a month we collect mail, and excuse me, I apologize, my nose running. This pollen is wonderful.
It's awful.
So once a month, we get the mail, and I get the fan mail, and so I took took me about an hour and a half to go through it all and sign everything, and I was just reflecting, because they send notes, and I received a note from a gentleman up in New York whose son was a football player and had a devastating car accident, was never going to walk again, and he told his dad, and this was two pages, wow. And he gave me the whole story, and 7 weeks later, he walked out of the hospital.
Wow.
So everything, he broke his or cracked his, I believe, C5 and C6. He told me. So I'll sign the autograph, and then I'll let it dry while I'm reading the letters that I get. And I tell you what, to me, it gives me goosebumps, because it truly is an honor and a privilege to be able to sign, that they would even think of me 30 years later.
Right.
Because I've been out of the game 32 years.
Wow.
And I think I ended up signing about anywhere from 100 to 125 letters. I get over a month, and but the stories I get to see, and some of them, they know what they're talking about because they say things that I remember. Dunkirk, Fredonia, the bars, right? Seeing them at their tailgates, and so I just think. I for that young man to say what he said, I hope somebody pulls him aside and says, "Dude, you're fighting a losing battle here. You're gonna, if you want your fans to love you, you better start signing because look, they'll turn on you in a heartbeat." Right, and,
absolutely, yeah.
And that's the way you have to look at it. I mean, it took me an hour and a half in 30 days time to do all the autographs. Yeah, and so I'm going to go stick them in the mail. I talked to our postmaster or our postman. We sit there and talk, and he because he likes to see the stuff that I get through the mail as well. Sure, and interesting things. But yeah, you got to sign. One of my buddies, Nate Turner, he shows up on Facebook, and he's like, what an honor to sit here and sign autographs for people who take their time. And then I've got a buddy out of LJ, but he lives in Virginia. Oh, shoot, I can't remember. Hill, he's an attorney. And he said, John, he says, my son's got a Bills helmet, and he's got 3 or 4 autographs on it. Can I send it to you, and would you sign it, and how much are you going to charge me? And I'm like, dude, I said, if anybody in LJ ever heard that I charged for an autograph, they would never let me back.
They would never let you back, man.
And I said, I will never charge. And so I said, but what you can do is you think about buying some raffle tickets for my jerseys. And sure enough, he's going to buy a slew of raffle tickets, and I'll sign the helmet for his kid. And I mean, why would you take money? I mean, now, unless I was at a card show, and you're getting paid for that, but that's different. But I would, and let me tell you this: one of the letters, I kid you not, one of the letters I showed on Facebook that it was John Davis, the baseball player. Yeah, he put a $5 bill in there and said, "Here, please take this for your time." And I'm like, man, goodness. I'm not taking this. Yeah. And so I gave him a football card. I did not sign his baseball card. And then I threw his $5 back in there and thanked him for it. And
that's so funny. Apparently there was a John Davis that was a pitcher for the Kansas City Royals at one point. We were joking around that there was Bo Jackson, then there was Deion Sanders, and then there was Big John Davis, right? The two-sport athlete there, the Bills/Royals, baseball player.
Exactly.
So,
I don't know. I don't know how many people in LJ remember. And Dave, I don't know if you remember this name or not, but back when I was playing baseball growing up in elementary school and stuff, there was a famous guy in LJ that always hung out at the baseball parks called Sunshine Woody. Okay. And he was just a baseball guy. He coached everybody. It didn't matter if you couldn't hold a bat to you're the best player, he was going to spend time with you. And I just thought to back of my mind, I said, oh, Sunshine would be happy now.
Yeah, he'd be smiling.
I was playing baseball.
I tell you one thing that does annoy me though is a lot of time. And again, now I've never sold an autograph. I mean, and I wouldn't say I'm an autograph hound, but I mean, I used to go out to Falcons training camp, things like that, get different ones. But for my own personal collection, I know there are folks that do it for a living. Sometimes they'll hound people to get a bunch of things just so they can turn around and sell them. And like I said, I understand if you're in that business, that's what you do. But yeah, it always, you see some of those folks out at some of those types of things, and you can pick them out of a crowd. You're like, all they're going to do is turn around and resell that. Yeah.
You know where the worst place was is when we used to go to the Meadowlands and stay at that Sheraton across the street from the stadium, and there'd be guys there with just picture frames and like, oh, this is for my personal collection, and we're like, right. So we just keep walking by, and so that was part of my rant that I was going to tell you is that, look, I'm going to sign cards if you send them, but don't send me 6, 8, 10 cards because I know what you're going to do with them.
Right.
Especially when you say you're one of the greatest Buffalo Bills ever. I was not one of the greatest Buffalo Bills ever. Dude, you want cards to sign. And by the way, my card's probably worth about 3 cents. So you're not going to get rich off of my card. And I'll be honest with you, when people send me over 4 or 5 cards, I'll send them 2 back, and I'll keep the other ones because I'm just not going to let them go out there. If you're honest with me and say, hey, I've got 6 kids, here's 6 cards, I'm all for it.
Right.
But don't sit there and give me a canned response and then expect me to sign 7 or 8 cards. I'm just not going to do it.
Right, yeah, a bunch of mini helmets or something if you're getting 12 there. I mean, you kind of know we know what you're doing there. So from that standpoint.
Zach Hill's my buddy, from LJ, and God bless him. I said, son, you better not send me any money unless you buy raffle tickets.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Now, the raffle ticket thing's a little different because we are selling raffle tickets right now for our big event. By the way, it is, and just so you guys know, it's called the Bradley's Bar and Grill Brunch and Lunch, taking place on May the 15th. Again, John and I will be broadcasting live from 10 to 1, but we'll have a lot of different folks there with us throughout the day. Again, our NFL draft insider, David Collins, I think he said he might be good for an hour. We'll have some different folks, some surprise guests and different things there as well. But it'll be a great event, as you talked about, great wings, specials all, throughout the day there. So looking forward to it.
Listen, it's a dive bar. But I'm going to tell you something. I can eat, as you know. It's some of the best food in a 4 or 5 mile radius of Bradley's Bar and Grill. John does a great job. He's got a great menu. Like I said, he's got some of the best wings in Georgia, I think. That rivals some of the best ones that we've had in Buffalo. But he's got a great menu, and he's just a great guy. And it's a hometown bar, and he just, it's almost, you go in there and it's almost the old norm. It's you walk
everybody
in there.
Knows your name.
He knows everybody in there, and how I've asked him, how do you do it? He says you just got to make it a priority.
Yeah.
And he knows everybody in there, and he runs a great place, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to pack that. We're going to pack that place.
We're going to pack it out,
he says, if I can get 10 or 11 people, I'll be happy. No, we're not going to do that.
Nah.
We're going to pack it for him.
We're going to go a lot more. Go big or go home, man.
That's it.
And you had me at wings, by the way. So, man, I'm totally down. Hey, we're out of time on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. John, thanks for bringing it as always, big man.
Thank you, brother.
Yep. We'll see you again on Wednesday. In the meantime, again, visit us on social media, The Sports Pig on Facebook. Our show, The Morning Rant, is on Instagram. You can also watch full video episodes of the show daily on YouTube. The podcast version of the show, also on The Morning Rant if you're in your car. It's available on sportspigradio.com, which is our website, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast, again, on the Apple and Android platforms like Spotify, Podbean, you name it, we'll get you there. You can also visit us on Twitter. I'm at Dave Garner 777. He's at John Davis _65, and this is The Morning Rant. We'll see you tomorrow morning right here. Chuck Oliver up next.
Tired of shouting your business's name into the void and getting nothing but crickets? Your brand deserves more than awkward billboard glances and flyers lining bird cages. Right now, listeners are hearing me ramble on instead of your ad. That's a touchdown for missed opportunities and a fumble for your wallet.
Recovered, Atlanta. Game over.
Your ad could be here, making fans laugh, cheer, and most importantly, call you. Go to sportspigradio.com or call 678-454-9552 and get your business off the bench and into the game.